Hello. If you're new here, welcome. This is my channel, Listen Sense, where I love to share with you poetry and various other styles of creative writings for you to sit back, listen, and enjoy. If you're returning, welcome back. It is always great to have you. What I have to present to you today is a collection of poems written by none other than Edgar Allan Poe. When I hear his name, I think of Halloween for some reason. Maybe because the words gothic and macabre are so closely associated with his work. I say gothic in a way that's synonymous with horror. I like to try and find out who famous figures, like Poe in this case, looked up to see if there are any traces of that in their work. Looking into Poe's life, I couldn't find any writers he himself looked up to that could explain his style of writing. Poe is actually credited for being the pioneer of short stories as well as modern detective stories and horror stories. Now, I love a good whodunit, and I love knowing that Poe is in part to thank for them. Just a little background into Poe's life. He was born in 1809 to parents that were both actors. After his father left and his mother died, by the age of 2, I believe, he was taken in by his aunt and uncle. He was able to attend a year of college before running out of funds and spending a short time in the military, which is when he published his first collection of writings titled Tamerlane and Other Poems. He married his cousin when he was 25 and she was 13, and she ended up passing away 11 years later. He spent the rest of his years working in literary journals, among other things, and becoming the first American writer to make a living off of writing alone. The living part didn't last long, because at the age of 40 he died. The cause of death most claim is complications due to alcoholism. In my opinion, Poe definitely fit into that archetype of the tortured artist, where someone has artistic ability as well as painful experiences, and critics and fans will make the two inseparable from each other, especially if the artist makes art inspired by that painful experience. The effect being a multifaceted person, like Walt Whitman says, contains multitudes, but are introduced as or defined by that specific pain in their art surrounding their profession. Some similar examples are Sylvia Plath, Vincent van Gogh, and Basquiat. I feel like knowing the artist's pain helps us attribute correct weight, in this case to their words. From here on, for my videos, I don't think I'm going to repeat the poems anymore. Instead, I'll introduce the piece with what I took from it, which will just be my opinion. So it's fine if you don't agree, and then I'll recite the poem, and then maybe you could comment down below with what you gathered from the poem, and we can collab in the comments. Okay, without further ado, we will begin with A Dream. What I take from my read-throughs is Poe using multiple topics like dreams, nostalgia, and loneliness to describe daydreaming, specifically about things in the past that meant a lot to you, but are no longer here. And thinking back on those good things and good times can be painful. I get this specific image in my head of standing on a cliff and looking out to the ocean and seeing the sun on the horizon. The sun is the happy memories, very vibrant, and they make you feel warm, but are entirely out of reach. With that being said, here we go. In visions of the dark night, I have dreamed of joy departed, but a waking dream of life and light hath left me broken-hearted. Ah, what is not a dream by day to him whose eyes are cast on things around him with a ray turned back upon the past? That holy dream, while all the world were chiding, hath cheered me as a lovely beam, a lonely spirit guiding. What though that light through storm and night so trembled from afar? What could there be more purely bright in truth's day-star? Next, we have a dream within a dream. I put these together because I feel they speak to similar feelings. This one, though, I hear a panicked tone of voice speaking on the idea of hope. Poe says, "Yet if hope has flown away," which might be a way of describing if one was to lose hope, as if living with hope is living to chase a dream, but living without it can feel like living in a nightmare. Here we go. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow: you are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away, in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is that all we see or seem, but a dream within a dream? Next we have Alone. I feel this poem is describing what loneliness has felt like for him, and he says it starts as far back as early childhood. That's all I really have to say about it. Not that it's not good, but it's just very reflective on his part, so there's not really much for me to say. Alright, here we go. From childhood's hour I have not been as others were, I have not seen as others saw, I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow, I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I loved alone. Though in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. Next is Annabel Lee, which you have probably heard at some point, and I don't want to ruin for you if you haven't, but it follows a theme I mentioned in the beginning. This piece is generally him just telling a story, a love story, with a tragic ending. Remember what I said about giving weight to a writer's words? While you'll see a lot in Poe's work that he calls the women beautiful or gorgeous and describes how they were oh so young. I feel like he does this to make the reader see them as precious and hold them to esteem before he tells us how they died, to make their death feel more tragic to us. I've definitely spoiled it, my bad, but here we go. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived who you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that, long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in sepulture in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, were envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. Next we have Imitation. I will admit I am at a loss for what this poem means. Now, I don't think we should read poems with the goal of figuring them out. Instead, more, what does this make me feel or think of? And all of my confusion lies with these lines. Had I let them pass me by with a dreaming eye? And those words, in that order, don't resonate with me. Overall, I'm getting him saying that in his childhood, he was seeing things that aren't there. Let me know what you might think. Let's continue. A dark, unfathomed tide of interminable pride, a mystery and a dream, should my early life seem. I say that dream was fraught with a wild and waking thought of beings that have been, which my spirit hath not seen. Had I let them pass me by with a dreaming eye, let none of the earth inherit that vision of my spirit. Those thoughts I would control as a spell upon his soul. For that bright hope at last, and that light time have passed, and my worldly rest hath gone with a sigh as it passed on. I care not though it perish with a thought I then did cherish. Next we have the Forest Reverie, and it's a nice change of pace. I don't want to spoil it, but it, unlike the others, ends on a hopeful note. It doesn't skimp on the sadness, though. It wouldn't be a Poe poem without it. Here we go. 'Tis said that when the hands of men tamed this primeval wood, the hoary trees with groans of woe, like warriors by an unknown foe, were in their strength subdued. The virgin earth gave instant birth to springs that never did flow, that in the sun did rivulets run, and all around rare flowers did blow. The wild rose pale perfumed the gale, and the queenly lily adown the dale, whom the sun and the dew and the winds did woo. With the gourd and the grape luxuriant grew. So when in tears the love of years is wasted like the snow, and the fine fibrils of its life by the rude wrong of instant strife are broken at a blow, within the heart do springs upstart, of which it doth now know, and strange sweet dreams, like silent streams, that from new fountains overflow, with the earlier tide of rivers glide deep in the heart whose hope has died, quenching the fires its ashes hide, its ashes whence will spring and grow sweet flowers ere long, the rare and radiant flowers of song. This next piece, Spirits of the Dead, is very haunting. That's all I'm gonna say. Here we go. Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. The night, though clear, shall frown, and the stars shall not look down from their high thrones in the heaven with light like hope to mortals given, but their red orbs without beam to thy weariness shall seem as a burning and a fever which could cling to thee forever. Now are thoughts thou shalt not banish, now are visions never to vanish. From thy spirit shall they pass no more, like dewdrops from the grass. The breeze, the breath of God is still, and the mist upon the hill, shadowy, shadowy, yet unbroken, is a symbol and a token, how it hangs upon the trees, a mystery of mysteries. Lastly, we have hymn. Hymn. A hymn. I'm having a hard time with that word. Hymn. Hymn. Yeah. Hymn. Hymn, by definition, is a song of praise, and that's definitely how I describe this. It's short and very sweet, and even has a bit of optimism thrown in there. So it's definitely one of my favorites of today. I can't help but love a sweet poem. Here we go. At morn, at noon, at twilight dim, Maria, thou hast heard my hymn. in joy and woe, in good and ill, Mother of God, be with me still. When the hours flew brightly by, and not a cloud obscured the sky, my soul, lest it should truant be, thy grace did guide to thine and thee. Now, when storms of fate overcast darkly my present and my past, let my future radiant shine with sweet hopes of thee and thine. Thank you so much for being here today. It really means so much to me. Let me know in the comments which was your favorite from today. I'm definitely going to go over some of Poe's short stories in the future. Liking and subscribing would help a ton to grow my page, so please consider that. Goodbye for now, and I can't wait to see you next time.